I am going to, instead of doing 3 rackets on this show, we're going to do 2 rackets. And I'm going to, before we do the 2 rackets, give a summary on the T360 Summit, the T3 Summit of 2019.
Were any of your friends there? Did you have any friends there?
I had some friends there.
Fun?
I had the CEO of Planomatic was there. Corey, he was there. Tom Toole was there.
Oh, fun.
Doug Edrington was there. Jess from the Tom Ferry Network. She was from the Tom Ferry company. You met Jess.
I wasn't
Jess
there,
loves
though.
you, by the way. She was disappointed not to see you.
Well, you didn't invite me.
Well, because this happens to be invite only. It's 400 people a year get invited. They don't invite women.
Clearly.
No, that's a joke. There's lots of women there. There's lots of men. It was very even. I found I didn't count. I did find it even. I ended up literally, if you don't know, look up T3. If you're in real estate, look up T360. Stefan Swanepoel puts this conference on once a year. It's 400 people, invite only. It is only C-suite executives, CEOs, and the 7 main speakers. Listen to this lineup. Just ridiculous lineup.
Ridiculous lineup.
Rich Barton, new CEO of Zillow. He started it off. Ron Peltier, the executive chairman of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. He's been in the business 40 years.
His teeth are really white.
Gorgeous teeth. I agree.
mean,
I
they
noticed that
can't
when they were very nice.
Yeah.
Robert Refkin, CEO of Compass. John Payton, CEO of Realogy. If you're following their stock, that went from like $25 about 2 weeks ago to now trading at $8. So if you're a Realogy believer, Realogy, like Century 21, Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's, ERA, Corcoran. If you believe in those companies, I'd go buy that stock today if you believe in them. One of the
Sotheby's branches sold off in Canada. Did you read that?
I haven't. Also, we had Gary Keller. Never, ever does these types of events. He did the Inman one. That's the only other one he's done in the last year when he got into the the little beef. We covered that.
You're smiling.
I was there. Gary Keller was amazing. I will say
he's drinking the Keller Williams Kool-Aid.
We're not Keller Williams or anything like that. I will say Gary Keller is amazing.
Is he like your man crush? Like your new man crush?
I would have dinner with him. I would drop everything to go have dinner with the man. He was very interesting to listen to.
He was it sounded like he was very influential. Like you're buying into his.
Oh,
his
I'm buying anything he's selling.
Yeah.
And here's why. He is so unwavering on his opinions of what's going to take place over the course of the future here in real estate. He knows where he's headed. He will not even listen to, much like our CEO, Bill Ravis, William Ravis, when he knows he wants something or knows something's right, he's not going to listen to any outsider to change his mind.
Yeah.
Gary Keller was impressive. And I'm going to recap kind of the themes here.
Yep.
Glenn Sanford, CEO of EXP, they're about to hit 100,000 agents. They'll be the only brokerage that does that in the last decade. According to Stefan. And then Glenn Kellman, the CEO of Redfin. So those were the 7. There was a bunch of other people that spoke. There was some really good people.
Wouldn't it be fun to be like
CEO
a fly on that wall? Like if these 7 men they had dinner together?
I would have loved to have seen the
green
room.
Do you think anyone's actually listening to each other? They probably aren't even listening to each other. You think they're even listening to one another?
They were listening very closely. Here's why, Nicole.
Well, when they were on stage, I'm sure.
No, because they were all at different times. So Stefan had the same questions basically for all 7 CEOs. So they would come out one after another. But once you got to like Robert Refkin, who was number 3, and then John, and then Gary Keller certainly at 5, they were commenting, if you listened closely, on what some other people said. And I will say these 7 individuals disagree on a lot of stuff.
So it's interesting. I wonder if Richard wished that he maybe was able to come back to sort of, like the
rebuttal?
First, it's sort of like on Christmas when you do like the Chinese grab bag,
Yes.
Like if you're number 2, you're stuck, man. You're stuck with whatever anybody else doesn't want.
Some of the things that Richard mentioned, he probably would have wanted to come back.
I'm sure.
And kind of counterpunch.
I wonder if they picked like straws. Like how do you line that up?
Stefan said he lined it up due to flight schedules because there was questions about that. There was questions why there wasn't women on the panel. But there was women later in the event. There was lots of women.
talking and then flying out again?
Well, I guess Richard Barton, he was first because of his flights. Anyways, that's not what this is about.
Oh, well.
I know you're very interested in that. There was other people at the event interested in that. I was not one of them.
No, I'm sure.
Here's the deal. These 7 individuals, you could say these are the 7 most powerful people today in residential real estate.
Yes.
You could say that, and you'd be very close to being correct
accurate,
if you're not. So they disagreed on a bunch. What they did agree on, that's what I'll cover here. They all agree that iBuyer is going to be a percentage of the market, a percentage of a percentage. So it's not going to touch, according to these guys and many others, the high end really at all, because the high end's too risky. We know that with the days on market, and even good markets like New York City know what the heck we're talking about.
Well, and then carrying costs, taxes. I mean, there's so many things to take into consideration.
So a percentage of the market is going to go the iBuyer route, which means I'm going to be able to just get an offer by going on to Zillow, or maybe in the future Berkshire Home Services, Compass. They're doing a great job with their coming soon stuff to generate leads, by the way. You can
Compass's
check that.
marketing and branding is beautiful.
Very slick.
It's so pretty.
But, I mean, Gary Keller alluded to it. All of these guys, Redfin already has it, will have an iBuyer program where you can sell your home directly to these companies by literally going onto an app and getting an offer and accepting it. Now, it's going to be I believe, and most of these guys believe, somewhere between 5 to 15% of that niche of the market, when I say niche, it might be a 3-bed, 2-bath home in a lot of communities on a postage stamp lot, because you can predict what the value of that home is going to be. So 10 to 15% of those homes that transact are going to go the iBuyer route. That makes sense. Who does that hurt? We've talked about this before. It might hurt your local investor because they're not getting that deal anymore. Does it really hurt the real estate agent? I don't think so. These are really low-end deals.
Yeah.
Number 2 point, and it's a good segue on something they all did agree on, is these lower-end deals are very vulnerable. This is just step 1 to allowing a homeowner that wants to sell, who is maybe on the lower end of the price range, ease to make the transaction happen, right? So like when Uber started in San Francisco, you couldn't get an Uber here in Connecticut on these little shoreline communities. But now, if we go on our app right now, today, 5, 6, 7 years later, we can get an Uber to anywhere within minutes to come here, right? And these are little towns.
I think it's a few more than minutes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe 5, 6, 7 minutes, depending like on where you are in Connecticut. Yeah. But I get Ubers all the time from Bradley Airport, which is a 60-minute drive to my house in I do that all the time. And I don't even have to like second guess. It's at midnight. Boom, I get an Uber. It happens for me. So at scale, we have Uber 5, 6, 7 years later. Great. The iBuyer is happening in a bunch of different markets. Fast forward 5 years, long time, not a long time.
No.
How much this will be at scale. And what they also agree on is technology, AI, big data in particular. They were all hung up on this rush for data mining will impact the lower end of the market. In fact, Robert Revkin said, if you're operating right now in a marketplace that deals with homes under 500,000, move out and leave. He believes that strongly, that technology and data and AI are going to eat up the low end of the market. Our racket number 1 kind of alludes to some of this with buyers agents being less and less important because of technology, because of the data. Very interesting stuff. They're all fighting over the same thing right now. Who can be the first company, because they don't even believe Zillow's there yet, to have the stronghold of data? I think Zillow's got the biggest advantage, but Keller Williams, with what they're going to launch in Q1, Gary was very passionate about their AI. That's what they're all looking to do, is build technology around data. So
maybe I'll get invited next year.
Maybe. It's possible.
I'll have to
But I will,
do more dances on the
Nicole
real
doesn't get invited, I already got my invite. I will give you the update again next year. Any thoughts on kind of what's happening?
No, I think it's really fun to listen to you recap because you love it.
I do love it.
You glow. You sort of glow when you talk. I enjoy that.
I think a lot of people take some of this stuff that's going on as a way to be fearful. I don't think there's any need to be fearful, and none of them are saying that the agent's going away. They're just saying there's going to be massive commission compression in the lower end, and
I don't think that there should be any fear. I think the people that are fearful are just the ones that aren't properly educating themselves. So you're always fearful in the unknown, and it's sort of their own faults for not really knowing what's going on or what's changing or what's happening, or at least sort of maybe coming up with like a new strategy for your own business so that you don't get swallowed up, like you're saying, in that buyer end. Remarket yourself, rebrand yourself, figure out a new strategy because things are changing, but like you should be too. So,
and can you use this data maybe if you're a Keller Williams agent next year when they launch their AI platform? Can you use that platform? Can you build your own platform as an agent or a brokerage that will allow you to build out businesses on top of the transaction, right? Like, how many businesses could you potentially start as a real estate agent, broker, company for after the transaction?
So many things you can do. I mean, we talk about it all the time, the things that...
But think about just the things after the transaction.
Crazy.
Because most agents, most companies are walking away from the client after the transaction, yet they still have questions about their furnace. They still have questions about their roof.
Plowing.
There are so many different services that they need, that they have questions about, that they need resources for.
Yeah.
Could you not build a platform to still connect with them on that level and potentially earn a profit on that? Absolutely. And that's where I think a lot of agents have to start thinking, if you're a real estate agent, you're supposed to be an entrepreneur. You're a salesperson. You're supposed to be an entrepreneur. You're not supposed to just... And listen, there will be a number of agents that are just order takers. Hey, Zillow, send me the lead. I'll pay you 50% someday.